everybody, welcome to Full Face Predator Calling, video blog number 8. Now this week's blog is going to be a continuation of last week's, where we talked about barking, but I didn't go into proper detail and I want to cover that. So this week will be purely informational. First, let's talk about barking and using fox vocalizations when targeting red fox. It's an exciting and rewarding way to hunt. Picture yourself out there making a late night stand and you hear a fox in the distance, either barking or emitting their howl. Well, what can you do? I'm going to teach you in this next section. And I'm not only going to mention the sounds, we're actually going to play them through my Fox Pro Fusion. Excuse me as I look at my remote, because on this call I don't have them really memorized where they are. But anyhow, let's go through the scenario. You're hunting. Nothing's come to your initial sounds, but you hear a fox out in the distance. Or you try to make one sound off by using the Fox Howl Sound. Now this Fox Howl Sound can be found by doing a Google search, and I'll show you a graphic that shows you how I did it. They're not high quality sounds as far as, audible perfectness, but they are effective. It's going to sound like this. This is Fox Howl. Oop, would help if I turned up the volume. Let's restart that. I don't do it like this in the field, I can guarantee you that much. Here we go. This is Fox Howl, and this is how you would start a stand to try to make a fox howl or bark. Two of those, and then wait. Many times you'll hear a fox then emit that one syllable mating bark, and usually they're in groups of 3. It's going to sound like this. Again, this is not a sound that came from a call manufacturer. This is a sound that was off a Google search. It's got a lot of hiss, a lot of static, but it still works the field. Let's give it a listen. That's not it. There it is. Don't overdo it, but make those mating barks. Now what will happen, and if you hear that sound happening naturally, go ahead and answer with that. Go back and forth. You will hear the fox shorten the distance between you, and it's an exciting way to hunt. When that happens, get your rifle pointed and get ready. Okay, so using those 2 sounds will be sufficient, because a fox has 28 sounds in their vocabulary. You don't need to know that many. Okay, 2 or 3 will get it done. Now here's another sound it can use. This is from Fox Pro, and it is the Arctic Fox Call. That's it. Just I do a few of them, and they answer. Red fox answer that a lot. Okay, now if nothing's shaking, if you do all that, now there's some other new sounds that are pretty good too, but I'm going to leave it at that. Let's keep it simple. Use those 3 sounds. Do a Google search and then click on the Sounds of the Fox Angel Fire. This is where you'll find plenty of fox sounds. As you can see, many varieties of fox sounds are found here. People are always asking, what's the best sound for coyotes right now? What's bringing them in? Well, it's awfully hard to answer that. My answer is usually, it depends on the situation. If I'm dealing with some aggressive howling coyotes out there, I try to normally avoid howling back. Instead, I use barks. And let me show you some examples of what I do and how they're used. The first one is from the Fox Pro library. It's called Coyote Male Barks. Okay, pick an appropriate volume, and then pretty much non-aggressive on this one. I would do 3 or 4 of those and wait and see if the inquisitive nature of the coyote makes it come in. The second one is called Coyote Barks. I'm not really sure where this one came from. It might be a Fox Pro sound, but it's going to be a little more intense. Check it out. Go ahead and use your mute button to allow the silence to work in your favor. Here's a really neat one, especially 2 years ago. I got a lot of coyotes with this one actually towards the end of the season. Female Coyote Barks. Again, use your mute button. I don't like to play them nonstop, but allow for 2 or 3 minutes of silence and carry on. It might require more silence. That part's up to you to figure out a field. But those are the sounds for barking in coyotes. Let's talk about some of this week's hunts. The first one, I was actually targeting coyotes. I knew there was a pack of coyotes at the end of this field, so I went in with all coyote vocalizations. After 45 minutes through my thermal, I caught the glimpse of a canine at the end of the field. I got all excited. On this hunt, I happened to be using a 204 with the night vision scope. So when I switched from my scanner to my scope, I saw right away I was dealing with the red fox. But after 45 minutes of calling, I was itching to get out of there, so I took the shot. Coyote calling is an interesting sport. Sometimes it's super hard to be successful. Other times, success falls in your lap. That's what happened on this next hunt. I sat down. I played Baby Cottontail, hoping to target a fox. It was a little chilly, so I said, well, I'll put my gloves on. I put my gloves on, looked up in the scanner, and there was a coyote standing looking at the call. I took the shot, and down he went, right there. The third hunt was another hunt of opportunity. I've made my approach. In fact, I didn't make it all the way to my destination, but as I scanned, I saw some sort of canine out there. I couldn't identify it right away. In fact, it was sort of close to me, but I still needed to make sure it wasn't a cat, a dog, whatever the case may be. I played a plethora of coaxing sounds, and instead of coming to me, the critter at this point, I'll call it, just started moving around and mousing. And from that familiar sight, I knew I was dealing with a fox. It actually moved away from me, and I wanted to test my 223 because, as you know, I've been having some problems, but I connected at about 200 yards on this fox. That was a fire shot. Here's the action from Friday night. Now, I've documented my misses with my 700 Remington 223, but guess what? It's back on track. I ditched the bog saddle and tripod setup and went back to my Stony Point bipods. Ever since I've done that, I've been on fire. Now, the red fox, he was pretty close, but the gray fox, he was out there. He was coming in, a car passed by, he got nervous and tried to vacate the scene. But apparently, several hundred yards away isn't safe for that Remington 700 in 223. Let's check it out. Wow, it was out there.